So first things first, what I'm doing is I'm checking for muscle bulk. So I'm using light pressure, not heavy pressure, deep enough to feel the muscle, but not deep enough to be hurting the person. So right away I can feel there is more muscle bulk on the right side, which would be the right masseter. More muscle bulk on the right temporalis, therefore most likely the client chews more on the right side. He favors the right side. Is that correct, Brandon?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So then I'm just gonna assess the TMJ. And the way we find the TMJ is just posterior inferior to the zygomatic arch. So then what I'm gonna do from this point, I'm gonna be having my fingers right on the joint itself. Again, not too deep of pressure, and I'm gonna get him to slowly open up his mouth. And close. So upon closing, I can feel a little bit of a click. So this would be a positive testing for reciprocal clicking, and this is what we're testing for. So once again, get him to open his mouth, and close, and boom, there goes the click. And now what I'm going to be doing, this you can do this at the same time. When you're gonna tell him to open up his mouth, you're gonna look for any wobbles. So there could be two types of wobbles. There could be a C wobble, so in other words, it'll be going either to the right or to the left, or there can be an S wobble. So it starts off with one direction and then goes in the other. So I'll get you to open up your mouth again. So he steers a little bit to the right, just slightly like this. Again, this makes sense because he has more muscle bulk in the right masseter, in the right temporalis. There's more tension on the right side. So what's probably is happening is when he's opening his mouth, the mandible is being pulled to the side that is tight. So with these kind of people, you want to release any trigger points in the masseter and then in the temporalis, which obviously or most likely is caused because he likes to chew on his right side. Is everything okay? Yeah.
Permit? Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Another thing is a C wobble. So if it's just going one side, it can indicate that the issue is more deeper in the joint. It's a capsular source, and the S wobble is more so muscular. So what an S wobble would look like is he opens up. Oh, do you think you give me the skull head? Or what is skull head? Hey, Tanya, can you give me the skull head? Thank you so much. So what's happening here is he's opening up his mandible and his jaw's going to the right. So it's veering to the right. Most likely these muscles of mastication are pulling it there. Another thing what could happen is it can go to the right, and then after a certain point it steers back in the midline. So that would be an S curve. However, what also can happen is with an S wobble is the jaw, which I see quite often, will fall out of articulation and then back into articulation. So this is what it looks like. So in other words, this is healthy articulation, right? And what happens with the S wobble at times, it goes like this, falls out, and now it's all the way to the right, and then it keeps opening, falls back in. And then when he closes, falls back out, falls back in. So it's like this. If it were extreme. So in other words, falls out of articulation, falls back in. Falls out, falls back in. And then you get this S wobble. So in those cases, it could be in fact both muscular and capsular. So, one more time, I'll get you to open your mouth. And close. Another test that we do for people who might present with TMJ is the knuckle test. Basically, it's very simple. We get the person to, I'm trying to use the hand sanitizer. Get the person to make 3 knuckles like this, and get him to see if he can fit them all in his mouth. Was that a what was that?
It clicked, yeah.
Okay, so obviously he can't fit 3 knuckles in, so then we kind of go down to 2 knuckles. So tell him to try to put in two knuckles in. How's that? Is it painful? Okay. If he can't even fit in 1 knuckle, or if there's pain with 1 knuckle, that would be a positive test. He obviously has some dysfunction because he has reciprocal clicking, he has a C wobble, and then we just heard that nice big crack when he was trying to open his mouth. So he definitely has some temporomandibular joint dysfunction. However, he did not test positive for the 3-knuckle test. And those are probably all the tests that we have for TMJ. Any questions, Brandon?
The 3-knuckle test, sorry, you said test positive. If I can fit 3, then
That's a negative, but if you can't fit even 1, it's a positive.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Or if you can fit 1, but there's pain, I would say that's also a positive.
I think I could do 2.5.
However, I've noticed a lot of people who do have TMJ issues, they have pain with 2 knuckles. In the booklet it says that would be a negative test. However, I argue that would be a positive test.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I don't want to touch it.